In the 1950s, an engineer from a struggling Japanese car company visited the United States to study the titans of industry. He toured Ford's massive River Rouge plant, the pinnacle of modern manufacturing. But he wasn't impressed. Instead, his big breakthrough came while walking the aisles of a Piggly Wiggly supermarket. He saw how shelves were restocked only when they were nearly empty, pulling new items from the back, triggered by customer demand. Not a single can of beans was wasted. That simple observation would ignite a revolution. It would allow his nearly bankrupt company to dismantle the American manufacturing playbook and build an empire that changed the world. After World War II, Toyota was on the brink of collapse. Its productivity was abysmal. While American giants like Ford and General Motors were producing thousands of cars a day, Toyota was producing a few dozen. It took their workers days to perform tasks that took Americans hours. They had no money, no resources, and no scale. Yet, by the 1980s, Toyota had become the global benchmark for quality and efficiency. Their cars were more reliable and cheaper to produce than anything coming out of Detroit. They had completely rewritten the rules of manufacturing. So, how did a company on the verge of failure, inspired by a humble grocery store, create a system so powerful it would dominate the auto industry and transform almost every other business on the planet? That is the question we are answering today. We are unlocking the strategy behind the Toyota production system. The architects of this system, Eiji Toyoda and Taiki Ono, knew they could not compete with American scale. They couldn't afford the massive factories or giant stockpiles of inventory. They had to win by being smarter, faster, and more efficient. Their solution was built on one foundational principle: the absolute elimination of waste. In their eyes, waste was anything that didn't add value to the customer. And they found it everywhere. They codified this into the concept of Muda, or the 7 wastes. The first waste was overproduction, making more of something than is immediately needed. This leads to the second waste: inventory. Stockpiles of raw materials and unsold cars cost money to store and hide other problems. Then came the waste of defects. Every faulty part that has to be fixed or thrown away is pure loss. The waste of waiting, where workers or machines sit idle, waiting for the next step. The waste of motion, from a worker needlessly bending over to grab a tool. The waste of transportation, moving parts from one side of the factory to the other. And finally, the waste of overprocessing, using a 5-ton press when a 1-ton press would suffice. Every other manufacturing system in the world accepted these wastes as a necessary cost of doing business. Toyota declared war on them. But identifying waste is easy. Eliminating it required 2 revolutionary pillars of thinking that would form the core of the Toyota production system. The traditional factory, pioneered by Henry Ford, was a push system. Raw materials were pushed in one end, and the assembly line ran at maximum speed to push finished cars out the other, whether customers were ready for them or not. This created enormous stockpiles and rewarded production volume over actual demand. Taiki Ono, inspired by the Piggly Wiggly, flipped this model on its head. He created a pull system. This is the principle of just-in-time, or JIT. The goal is simple: make only what is needed, when it is needed, and in the amount needed. Imagine the final step on the assembly line: installing the wheels. Under JIT, the wheel installation team has a small bin of lug nuts, just enough for a few cars. When they take the last set of lug nuts, it triggers a signal to the station before them, the lug nut supply station, to deliver exactly 1 more bin. Not 2. Not 10. Just 1. That signal is called a Kanban. In Japanese, it means visual card. It was often a simple, physical card placed in the bottom of a parts bin. When the bin was emptied, the card was sent back up the line as an order. This simple, visual system created a chain reaction. The lug nut supplier, upon receiving the Kanban, would then pull the steel needed to make more, creating a cascade of pull signals all the way back to the raw material suppliers. Production was no longer based on forecasts or guesses. It was dictated by real-time consumption. The result was a dramatic reduction in inventory. Money wasn't tied up in parts sitting on shelves. Factory space was freed up. And most importantly, with no extra inventory to hide behind, problems on the factory floor became immediately visible. Just in time is incredibly efficient, but also fragile. If a single part is defective, and there's no backup inventory, the entire line can grind to a halt. Toyota needed a way to guarantee quality was built into every single step. Their solution was a concept called Jidoka, which can be translated as autonomation, or automation with a human touch. Its origin came from Toyota's founder, Sakichi Toyoda, who invented an automated loom in the 1920s. His brilliant innovation was that if a single thread broke, the loom would automatically shut down. This prevented the machine from producing yards of defective cloth. Toyota applied this thinking to the entire factory. Every machine was designed to detect abnormalities and stop. More radically, they gave every single worker the power to stop the entire assembly line. Hanging above the line was a rope or cord called the Andon cord. If a worker saw a misaligned bolt, a scratched door, or any other problem, they were expected to pull the cord. Music would play, a light would flash on a central board indicating the exact station, and the line would halt. A team leader would immediately rush over, not to blame the worker, but to help them solve the problem at its source. This was completely counterintuitive. In American factories, the line was king. Stopping the line was a fireable offense. But Toyota understood that running the line to produce a defective car was far more wasteful than stopping it for 60 seconds to fix a problem permanently. Jidoka turned every worker into a quality inspector. It made building quality into the process the highest priority, rather than inspecting for defects at the end. With JIT exposing problems and Jidoka stopping the line to fix them, Toyota needed a culture to ensure those problems never happened again. This is the soul of the system, Kaizen, or continuous improvement. Kaizen is the philosophy that everything can be, and should be, improved. It's a culture of small, incremental changes made by everyone, every day. When a problem was identified by the Andon cord, the team didn't just apply a quick fix. They asked why, 5 times. A machine stopped. 1. Why? Because it overloaded and blew a fuse. 2. Why? Because the bearing was not sufficiently lubricated. 3. Why? Because the lubrication pump was not pumping enough. 4. Why? Because the pump shaft was worn and rattling. 5. Why? Because there was no filter on the pump, allowing metal shavings to get in. The solution wasn't to replace the fuse. It was to install a filter. This 5 whys analysis is a simple tool to find the root cause, ensuring the problem is solved once and for all. Kaizen empowered workers to think like engineers. They were the experts on their jobs, and their suggestions for improvement, making a tool easier to reach, resequencing a task, were taken seriously. This created a company of engaged problem solvers, relentlessly shaving seconds off processes, improving safety, and enhancing quality. The system wasn't just running, it was learning and evolving every single minute. For decades, the world looked at Toyota and saw the individual pieces. They saw Kanban cards. They saw Andon cords. Companies everywhere tried to copy these tools, but they failed to see the underlying genius of how they work together. They missed the secret. The Toyota production system is not a system for making things. It is a system for exposing problems. Think about it. Traditional manufacturing hides its flaws. It uses mountains of backup inventory to keep the line moving even when machines break or quality is poor. It uses armies of inspectors at the end of the line to catch mistakes that were made hours or days earlier. It is a system built on buffers and workarounds. Toyota did the opposite. Just in time systematically removes the buffers, so there is nowhere for problems to hide. The moment a supplier is late or a part is defective, the pull system starves and the line stops. Jidoka then forces everyone to pay attention to that single point of failure. And Kaizen provides the culture and tools to kill that problem at its root. The system is a beautifully integrated trap, designed to catch waste. It's a self-improving machine that makes itself better with every error. Toyota didn't just build a better process. They built a philosophy that uses problems as fuel for its own perfection. The principles pioneered by Toyota have spread far beyond the factory floor. Under the name lean manufacturing, this philosophy has transformed virtually every industry. When a hospital redesigns its emergency room to reduce patient waiting times, that's lean. When a software company develops in small batches, releasing updates every week based on user feedback, that's the agile methodology, a direct descendant of TPS. From coffee shops to construction sites, the relentless pursuit of eliminating waste and empowering people to improve their own work has become the gold standard. The ultimate lesson of the Toyota production system is a deep respect for people. It trusts that the person doing the job is the one who knows it best, and it gives them the tools and the authority to make it better. It proves that the path to world-class performance isn't about big budgets or massive scale. It's about a relentless focus on the small details and the belief that 1,000 tiny improvements can change the world. If you learn something new, hit the like button and subscribe for more strategy breakdowns. And let us know in the comments, what company's strategy should we unlock next?